Steve, good morning. What are we not, T-Rex? What are we not? We are not in a hurry because it's Sunday, and we want Sunday to go by as slowly as we can, as it can. Not in a hurry Sunday. It's a brighter sky today, but it's still gray, and it's still 59 degrees. It seems like we're stuck there. What a coincidence. That's the water temperature, and look at the boats pointed toward the east. That's where the air is coming from, and the sun's trying to come through there, but this cloud is definitely thicker than I thought it was going to be this morning. The upper level flow is parallel, and there's very little wind aloft right now, at least the lowest several thousand feet. There's a blue spot right there, and you know where it cleared out? Mount Washington. So we have a view from the top of Wildcat looking over to Mount Washington, where there's still some patches of snow. Tuckerman Ravine has a little patch of snow. There just below the auto road in the upper right has a little bit of snow. Are you up there this morning, Sean Becchione? Parking and riding, and the air on Mount Washington is hardly moving. There's the 8 o'clock data, 8-mile-an-hour winds, 8.7-mile-an-hour winds, and temperatures in the mid-40s, so it's warmer than it was yesterday, so we're warming aloft, and so that should try and stabilize the atmosphere. But one thing about a stable atmosphere, it's tougher to mix out the clouds if you start off with a cloudy morning, and boy, is it cloudy here. And the clouds are pretty thick, and this is part of a huge complex of a weather system that extends from Western Europe. That's right, part of this cloud extends east all the way to Ireland, and then comes right over New England, and then west all the way to Montana and Saskatchewan. And it's a dirty cloud. There are lots of smoke particles in there from the fires that are burning in Canada. And if we close in a little bit on the northeast, the northern edge of the cloud really has not budged since last night, and it's actually expanded northward a little bit. There was some valley fog earlier. And then off to the northwest, Thunder Bay. Look at the smoke in the air near Thunder Bay. So smoke and clouds are going to be the primary sky cover in New England today. I think we do get breaks of sunshine, but the guidance is much less optimistic on the sun coming out in and around Boston, and you can just hear the air. You can hear it because the flag is making a noise. Air coming in from the east. Maybe we should start with the wind forecast, or a look at the wind barbs this morning at about 7:30. Most of the temperatures were in the 50s, and the dew point was also in the 50s, so technically it's a little bit higher dew point today. And the barbs there from the northeast there in Boston, Nantucket. Nantucket kind of cool. Was Nantucket the cool spot this morning? Most of us are showing 57 degrees, pretty close to that water temperature. Now what I want to show is the NAM high res, nope, not precipitation, wind barbs. The barbs show the way the wind is coming from, and if it has one, so it's a line, and on the end of the line there's like a flag, a single line at the end. A single line means 10 knots. So wind of 10 knots from the east and northeast in southern New England, while in northern New England there's hardly any wind at all, and it's variable coming around from the south and even maybe southwest a little bit. And this continues tonight. Tomorrow, the wind is still from the east, so we're going to have a tough time shaking this cloud and this fairly chilly air. And this goes out now through Tuesday, and it shows the air starting to come around from the southwest a little bit on Tuesday. Look at this. How does this happen? They are tangled amongst one another. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's force bunching. I have this this phrase I call, you go to the store in the middle of the night and there's no one there, and one of those 24-hour stores, and you get over to the tuna fish. Well, there is one other person there. They're right at the tuna fish. You and that other person had the same idea. Let's go to the tuna fish. And then you get the tuna fish finally, and then you go get some crackers, and then you go to the cash register, and there's only one lane open. And that other person that got the tuna fish, their tuna fish didn't have a price tag on them, so the cashier has to go and check out the price of the tuna fish. And what you thought was going to be a 1-minute shopping experience turns into a half hour. That's my force bunching theory. It works in so many ways. And it also works in the atmosphere. So we have these waves in the atmosphere, and some places they attenuate. That's when a wave dissipates. And some places they resonate. And this cloud that's over New England is kind of in a resonating fashion. You can see the waves here on a different angle of our satellite with the waves of low pressure south of New England. There's a 1024 high pressure system that's pretty much in charge right now, but as I mentioned several times last week, that this was going to be a dirty kind of high pressure system. Dirty meaning there's going to be clouds and showers around. And how much rain at your place? Rainfall yesterday was pretty light, but pretty persistent, and it looks like yesterday, this is a 2-day combined, the south coast from Connecticut to Martha's Vineyard picked up, Max, what'd you get in Vineyard Haven? A 0.2? And I think I see a 0.27 at Falmouth. So 0.27 in Falmouth over the last 2 days, not really enough to water the lawn. And 0.08 in South Bend is certainly not enough. And here in the Weymouth area, it shows about a 0.12 or so, and that matches up. Yesterday, I emptied out a 0.02 out of the gauge, and now it's a 0.09. So we'll get about a 0.12 or a 0.13. Oh, Ant, come on, focus. Talk about waves and force punching. Ants got it down. They know what's going on. Oh, look, another one just kind of appeared here. What was that? Something flew out of there. So this is the euonymus. We're not in a hurry, right? Steve wants to come down here, but no, you're not coming down. The lettuce is getting big, isn't it? Yeah, it's trying like crazy. And precipitation. There's not much precipitation around. There may be a sprinkle. I don't think we're going to have any convection. Mostly just smoke and clouds with a 1024 high on the coast of Maine. So that means in northern Maine, it'll be dry with a wind from the west. Nice, beautiful. Temperature in the 70s. But south of the high, wind is from the east, and that keeps us in the 60s at best in the Boston area. Precipitation is just sort of specks showing up here and there. And we still have that thermal packing. Note the 558 and 564 not really moving. If the sun was out and the wind was from the west, we would be in the 70s to near 80. But it's all about that wind direction from the east. And this goes out now till Tuesday. And it shows a precipitation, a shield of precipitation off to our southwest on Tuesday. That's the next organized precipitation that's going to come in here probably Tuesday night and Wednesday, or maybe it's Tuesday afternoon. That goes out till 2 o'clock. So let's go right to the Euro now and try and get this done. Oh, look at that camera, still aimed at that ant from a couple minutes ago. We have to refocus the camera. Not that you care that much. I don't know when's the last time it was in focus even. So I probably stretched that graphic way out there. And a couple things of note regarding snow. I talked about it earlier. I told myself I wasn't going to do this, but it's too late. In Chile, Portillo, it's been snowing like crazy. They're getting feet of snow every other day in Chile. And there's the view. I didn't even look at the cam this morning from South America, where the winter solstice is just days away. But guess what? In North America, there's also snow forecast in the lower 48. And because it's going to happen so fast in the sequence in the Euro, I'm just going to show you the Euro's 2-week snowfall guess for Idaho and Montana. Yeah, Butte, Montana, the forecast from the Euro is for 7 inches of snow in the next 2 weeks. That's mostly starting in the middle of the week. And so there's anomalous cold. And by the way, that 2 to 3 feet shade there, that's the bitter roots. So the anomalous cold in Canada is fighting against anomalous warmth and heat in much of the southern United States. National advisories, watches, and warnings show the heat warnings in effect in Southern California to Arizona, not quite to New Mexico. So that heat pushes north, the cold resists in Canada, and we get these one after another fronts crossing the nation. Here they are in the graphical form from the pivotal weather, ECMWF, that's the Euro. And you can see the waves of energy to the south of New England and also to the north of New England. So today is mostly dry, tomorrow is mostly dry, 70s to near 80 at the Canadian border, 60s to near 70 at the south coast of New England tomorrow. The sun is brighter tomorrow in most of New England. And then Tuesday, here comes a wave of energy on a warm front. It's hard to say exactly what's going on here, but there is a batch of shower activity coming through on Tuesday afternoon, and then into Wednesday, we're not seeing quite as strong a storm coming out of the Midwest. And so that storm over the Midwest, which yesterday and the day before had forecast to be sub 990, is now forecast to be a little weaker and closer to New England. On Thursday, it's a 999 low with strong thunderstorms. We're on the edge of the heat near 90 degrees, dew points near 70. So Thursday, summer is on. And then that front moves offshore and it gets somewhat cooler on Friday. June 20th is the summer solstice. And at that point, we have showers and maybe a thunderstorm, an upper level cool pool, and warm underneath means a pretty good day, I think, and mostly dry and still on the warm side, less humid though. And then Saturday, it looks like we could actually have a dry Saturday. The euro has lost that day ratio feature it had yesterday from Burlington to Boston. Instead, it just puts us on the warm to hot side starting next Sunday with some scattered showers and thunderstorms. The front is lifting to the north, and now this goes out through Monday into Tuesday, June 24th. And it is hot. The air is moving from Mexico and Texas to Ohio, to Ontario, to New England with a strong low way up there near James Bay, Canada. What's that, in the 980s, 990s, somewhere in there? And a powerful Bermuda high where you don't see the blue H, but the red numbers I talk a lot about, sometimes they're blue, the 540, cold enough for snow, which did make a few appearances, is way off the map in eastern North America. But the 576, that is toasty, warm. No, that's hot. So with a 576 across northern New England and the air coming from the southwest, and so you can interpolate that the 580 decameter thickness up to 500 millibars it's just very low density air, and that means it's hot. And those numbers translate to 96 to 100 degrees. You can generally add 20 to the last two of those numbers to get the temperature. So 95 to 100 degrees is the Euro's forecast for June 24th. And I had been looking at the GFS a little bit for fun, and it had us in a chilly, kind of damp weekend next weekend, but that changed its tune, and the GFS also agrees that it's going to be full on summer. So I think we're going to transition out of these cool high pressure systems causing the air to come in off the ocean and into more of a west-southwesterly flow beginning about Tuesday or Wednesday. We are going to enter sustained summer for the most part with sun and storms and warm to hot going forward into the last days of celestial spring and first days of celestial summertime. And I differentiate, that's after the solstice. So weather is done now. It's going to get hot, and it's going to stay that way for a while. And hopefully we still keep the showers and thunderstorms coming. But the grass is plenty green right now. I know it's a mess here, but just focus over here. And so it's going to start going dormant when we get into that heat. The grass turns brown, and it's grass going dormant, and that's a natural feature. So yesterday was a busy day of me shooting because there was a sailboat race going on, and I kept looking out the door and wondering when the rain was going to stop, and it was relentless through 2 o'clock anyway. After the day before, many of the guidance products had Boston not getting rain much of the day, but it rained for about 4 or 5 hours. And the sailboat race, the Haley Regatta, hosted by the South Shore Yacht Club, and Jeff Kent in the dark sail there, and we'll put a little time lapse on that. And that was also a big Flag Day parade in Quincy. I didn't go to the parade, but I didn't have to leave. I could see the fireworks happening from here. Oh, yeah. Right over there, the Force fireworks. So we're going to have a bonus time lapse after what looked like was going to be the end of my and more. I shot more as the fireworks went off at about 9 o'clock for 20 minutes over there in Quincy. Thanks for that show. And that's it. Steve is on T's. Slow down. Not in a hurry. Steve is on Steve's Rock, and T-Rex is ready to go in and have some breakfast. All right, here's the and more from yesterday. Talk to you now. So most of you know that I listen to WZLX now pretty much every morning, and they've been saying, oh, all week it was going to rain. Then on Thursday they started saying, oh, it's not going to rain on Saturday. It's not. I was thinking to myself, yeah, sure, it's not. And then yesterday they were saying, oh, the rain maybe is or maybe isn't, and we still didn't know. Well, here it is noontime on Saturday, and it is a steady rain, and it is chilly, and there's a breeze from the east-northeast, and someone's putting up a sail. So it is a wet, chilly midday in Boston all week long. We've been changing the forecast for today. So weather changes and weather forecasts change on this gray Flag Day in southern New England. The sun's coming out in northern New England. Boaters will boat regardless. A couple seconds later, that boater's over there. Rain's getting heavier. The motorboater and the sailboater heading out to sail. It's awesome. Into the wind. Are you going to Charlestown for the Bunker Hill celebrations? Celebrations. Get a dress for spring skiing. Right, Captain Peacock? Okay, I see an osprey carrying a fish way out there, but you can't see it. But what brings me back out the window, out the door again 5 seconds later, is we got a regatta going on. I had no idea. What you guys doing out there in the rain on this Saturday? Flag Day, June 14th regatta. All right, should we put a time lapse on this? My camera's already hurting enough though with the audio. I don't think I dare. Maybe if I put the tent up, the umbrella up, I can do it. Okay, built the little station here now. I can put my camera on the tripod. Try and preserve it and make a time lapse. What's the occasion out there? Let's kick off the season regatta. Sure, why not? All right, it's 12:45. Let's let this roll. About 60 degrees. Wind from the northeast. Make it a little straighter. And we'll watch the race. How shaky was it? It's 1 o'clock. That was about a half-hour video. And the sailboats are gone. Celebration, maybe? Time? Where'd they go? Was it Wessagusset? Who hosted that? And the wind, still from the northeast. The sky is getting brighter. I think this last band of rain is about done. Interesting that I looked at the velocity azimuth display, and up around 3,000 feet, the air is light from the south, and up about 8,000 feet, there's hardly any wind. Then up at 35,000 feet at the top of the clouds, the wind is out of the west-southwest at 75 knots. So exact opposite direction, way up over the top of these clouds. And Doug Kent just informed me, thank you, that it was the Haley Regatta out of South Shore Yacht Club, which is over there and then around the corner to the right. As the prop turns. Whose nose is that? Is that a Mitt nose? He's like, oh, it's raining. I'm not going out. What do you mean, Mitt? You don't want to go out in the rain? Time for some chow. Yeah. Also hearing Beach Boys on the radio a lot, and thank you for all the comments regarding Brian Wilson. Yeah, Beach Boys was probably the first album I ever bought, Endless Summer, when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So thinking of the Beach Boys, and also Sly, from Sly and the Family Stone. .210, the rain has ended, sky is lifting, and racer, can't read your sail, returning from the race. How was it out there? Kind of a good day for racing, I would say, with the breeze. Just gonna dress for the chill and the rain, but all right, so the rain is done, and those lower clouds moving from right to left, and the upper clouds moving right at us. Should be a really interesting time-lapse day. And still looking for some sunshine, but it is the feel of early spring instead of days from the summer solstice right now. We're playing indoor games today. It's still kind of damp. It's not really raining, but it's misting. And And this weather system is the same one that's affecting the U.S. Open in Oakmont, Pennsylvania. It's also pretty raining. Mito, what's it doing here? Yeah, it's looking gray. Oh, they get a rainbow in Oakmont. I can't really lift it though, because I'll get a copyright infringement. I want a rainbow. So the sun's out in Oakmont, and it's raining. They had a rainbow. I don't think they showed it. I can hear a jet up there, so they're still taking off to the east and circling south. And the flow aloft is just so parallel with this front. The clouds are making very slow progress south. So I don't think we're seeing the sun today. I emptied out a 0.03 first thing. We got another 0.09, so 0.12 rainfall here in Weymouth. The NAM was too dry, the Euro was too wet. Still raining. Parts of Cape Cod where the temperature today fell from the 60s into the 50s. One of your cooler June 14ths, you'll see. So I had to look it up, and the record low high temperature for Boston on June 14th is 50 degrees, set in 1965. We are 58 degrees, but the high was in the 60s before the sun even came up. So it's not record, but it's a chilled Saturday. Closing in on sunset, fun sky waves, a little brighter on the northern horizon, but no sunshine. We do have baby eider though. Can you see him? Thank you, Eric, for cluing me in on the baby eider. Growing up so fast. It's like mom, dad, and an uncle and 3 babies. Pretty far away. There's another kind of a Mitt sighting. The back of a Mitt. There he is. Hi, Mitt. You want to come on out for sunset? Do you know what time sunset is? It's 8:23. The latest sunsets of the year for the next week and a half. I think the latest sunset's about 8:25, which is still about an hour away. Mid-50s, sky waves. Thought maybe would see some sunshine today. Not. But at least there's no low clouds, really low clouds, or fog or drizzle. Steve's getting ready to pounce. Good thing his leash is stuck. Not really that stuck though, is it? You just behave. You get on your rock and you just stay there, Steve. On Steve's rock. Weeding the impossible to keep weed-free creeping juniper. Roger Kent put here ages ago. But there's some joy. Look at the babies. We got the babies. Give them a little good night dirt. Weeds. Doug, can you come help with this? Never ending. All right, there's some sky waves. Let's go wave the day goodbye in the backyard. Precisely 8:23 sunset. Filled 3/4 of that barrel in like 40 minutes. And it's hard to even tell that anything was done. Let's go see if Steve's on Steve's rock and call this a day. Side yard update in case you were curious for the excavator left behind. Now we'll do more on the status of the concourse and more for tomorrow. That's the status for now. And the ceiling is getting higher. Planes are taking off toward the east and then headed south. Steve no longer on Steve's rock. Temperature pegged at 57. You want to go inside? See me Hagar Saturday nights. Can't play the music though, get in trouble. So just play piano music. Captain Spacetime is our pianist. You can find him on YouTube. And the name of the tune is Up and Down, Round and Round. He thought that was appropriate for a weatherman and weather. Up and down. The sun's getting up higher in the sky, but we didn't see it, did we? On the Weymouth time lapse today. This is where I just landed, in case you were wondering what that noise is. Peony gone by. So sad. Times change. Hydrangea season and invasive glories, which turn into really pretty flowers, actually. Do we have any glory flowers yet? Not quite, but I'm sure you do. That's what the vine looks like. And Cape Cod. Just kind of heartbreaking. Another gray, cold, wet Saturday for the local businesses that offer outdoor dining, Sundancers, and so many more. Summer Shanty. That's just a couple down the road from here in Bass River. Here's to a brighter Sunday and a Suddenly Summer Part 3 coming at us with some real discrepancies in the guidance for next weekend. Will it be the first dry weekend since February 22, 23? Oh, and I forgot to mention that Flag Day in Quincy is a big deal, and there are fireworks at Pageant Field, which is on our horizon. So did you see those fireworks? Did I show them earlier? 9 p.m. on the dot. I like punctuality. Quincy, Massachusetts Flag Day celebrations. Okay, I'll try and be quiet, but I couldn't resist adding a little time lapse, another one from the Quincy fireworks. And more and more. Bonus and more. There's the grand finale. Fenway Park. I think the Red Sox are hosting the Yankees tonight. Thank you, City of Quincy. Oh, beautiful. And more, and more, and more. The lights ended before the sound ended. That's awesome. And the lights from Fenway Park right